So I saw a few people in the Etch community asking about star ratings, so I figured I would give it a shot. There's a nearly unlimited number of ways to do this, but I will only cover two. And for this tutorial, I just wanted to use CSS. I didn't want to get into JavaScript or anything like that. I'm not getting into schema markup or any of this stuff, so I'm just going to cover two ways. The first way will be full stars, so 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, and then we'll go over if you want to do partial stars, if you want like 3.6 or something like that out of 5. So we're going to add two divs to our container. The first one will be for full star rating, and then the second one will be for part star rating. Okay, so for our full star rating, because we don't need half stars, and the absolute simplest way to do this is to use the Unicode star characters, which you can type out by hitting ampersand star F semicolon for a full star, or without the F for a star outline. Now, before we go any further, let's make the font size bigger so we can see these. So we'll give this a CSS class of full star rating, and we'll say font size is 3M. Okay, so basically what we're going for is we want a few of these and a few of the full. So ampersand star F. So we want 2 of those and 3 of those, or something like that, whatever our rating is. Now, we could manually write these out every time we wanted, but that is no fun after the first 2 times, maybe after the first 1 time. So we're going to use a loop. So I went into the loop manager and I created this star ratings loop that is just an array, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's all. And we're going to loop through it. So if we go out of here back to our full star rating div, and then we're going to say, hey, add a loop here, and we want to loop through the star ratings. Now, if we just put in here item, we'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is what we want. We want to go through this and add those as needed. However, depending on what our rating is, we want to add a different amount of the full stars versus the outline stars. So what we're going to do is we're going to use an if statement or if condition. So if, let's just say our rating is 3 for now. So if our rating of 3 is greater than or equal to item, then we want to display the star full. There we go. So we have 3 because it's coming through this loop saying, hey, item is 1 on the first time through. So is 3 greater than or equal to 1? Yes. Display the star. Is it greater than or equal to 2? Yes. Display again. Is it greater or equal to 3? Yes, it's equal. Display again. Is it greater or equal to 4? No. So it doesn't display that anymore. So what we need now is to display the outline versions. So we're going to change greater than or equal to less than. So now 3 is less than 4. We're going to say star without the F. And so there we have it. We're looping through and creating our star, but even so, we don't want to have to copy and paste this all the time. We just want to drop in a component and say what our rating is. So let's turn this full star rating into a component. Create component. We need 1 prop, a text prop, and that prop will be called star rating. And then in our condition, we'll give it a default value of 4. And then if we go back to here and we reference our, well, here we can just copy this, star rating, paste, paste, and there we have it. Save and exit. By default, it will show 4, but if we change our star rating to 5 or to 2, it will adjust accordingly. So that is the easiest way to do a star rating. Let's actually give it a color though, because this is looking not like a star. Edit component, and let's go here and say color is, we'll just use the warning color from automatic CSS. So if you're using automatic CSS, you already have that, although it might not be turned on. So I'll show you how to do that. In your ACSS dashboard, if you go to color palettes, make sure warning is turned on if you want to use that color. You could just as easily grab whatever color yellow you want to use or any other color, but this way it matches at least something else on your site if you happen to be using warning colors. But okay, now let's move to partial star ratings. So here I'm going to use some SVGs. Let's use phosphor icons and go to phosphoricons.com, search for star, and we'll take this star here and copy the raw. Now, I'll explain how this one's going to work before I actually do it, because this one's a bit different. So we're going to have 5 stars that are the outline. We're going to have 5 stars that are full, and then we're going to use our rating number to set the width of the full star wrapper, and then set overflow to hidden so any additional stars get cut off. If you use this, you will also want to do something for screen readers to tell it, because this is visual only. So you'd maybe have screen reader text saying like 3.5 of 5 stars or something like that. If I remember at the end, I'll try and add that. If I forget, I wanted to at least mention it now. So we could paste our stars out 5 times if we wanted to, but I don't really want to. So let's make a loop, and in our loop, we're going to go back to star ratings, and for each star rating, we're going to add an SVG. Now, let's select our SVG and strip the color attributes. Oh, it is so tiny. We can't even really see it. So let's go here. We'll give it a class of part star rating. And then we want to set the font size to 3EM, just like we did before. And then our SVGs are going to have a width of 1M. There we go. So, a few things to notice. First of all, these are not the same. If you're not familiar with M's, they inherit. So we've made the font bigger for the whole div, and so by setting the 1M that inherits the 3, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of trying to explain that further. The other thing we want to do is we want to display these inline so that they go this way. And let's also set the color to warning again. There we go. So now we have our stars that are empty. Let's duplicate our loop. Now we have way too many stars. These we're gonna delete the SVG. We're gonna come back to phosphor icon, say we want the fill version, copy the raw SVG again, and paste it in here. Now you would think that we could click it and hit strip color attributes, but that doesn't work because we're using a fill color here instead of an out or a stroke. So this one actually just is set to black because that doesn't even come with current color. So we're going to set manually our fill equal to current color. There we go. Now what we need is we need them to sit on top of each other. So let's go back to here, and we want this to be display grid. Oh, haha, we forgot to put these loops in, or these containers. So we need a container for the empty and a container for the full stars. So let's go back here. Here we're going to say we want a div with a class of, what do we want the class to be? Empty stars. And then find the end of our loop. Div, indent our loop. That didn't do what I thought, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Then we'll add another div, class equals filled stars. Find the end of our loop and end our div. Okay, now that we have those in place, we have them sitting on top of each other, which is closer to what we want. Then we want to set grid template columns to 1. This is supposed to be grid template columns to 1. Then grid template rows to 1. And then let's see if I can find. So I wrote this out before. I don't remember if I still have it available. I don't. So I think what we need to do is set div so that'll get both of our rows to grid. I don't remember which one it is. Area 1. Nope. Grid. Column 1 and grid row 1. That's the one. Okay, so now we're covering up the empty stars with the full stars, which is what we want. Now we just need to cut off our full one at the at our rating line. So here is the interesting thing about doing it this way. We can, because we used 1m for the width of each of these stars right here, 1m, we can say we want to cut this off at our rating m's. So if we have 3.5 stars and we make this outer div 3.5 m's wide, it'll cut off right where we want it. So if we have to find our filled stars, and then we're going to use, because we don't have props over here. So I mean, we could do it here first. We could say filled star rating. Was that our empty? Oh, filled stars. And we could say we want a width of 3.5 m. stars. I missed the S. Now it's going to wrap, so we have to tell it text wrap is no wrap. Oops, no wrap. And overflow is hidden. I missed the F on overflow. So there we have it. But we don't want to come through. I mean, this would apply to every single time we use this. So we obviously don't want to do that. So we're going to remove our width here. And because we don't have props, can't be used over here. We're going to turn this into a component and use the prop in the HTML. So we're going to use the old school inline styles. So let's create a component, and we need, once again, a text of star rating, and we'll give it a default value of 4.5. And then we'll save that, go back to our second div. Now we should have actually named these. So this would be empty. There we go. Empty stars. And this one is not letting me name it. So anyway, that would be our full stars. And so now what we want to do is say style equals width is props dot star rating. Oh, and we need M. There we go. So now if we save and exit, maybe save, exit, it looks like I have locked up the editor. This part works, maybe? Nope. I don't actually think this is an Etch issue. I'm running Linux inside of a virtual machine, and I get random lockups occasionally, which has to do with the virtual machine. When I was using Linux natively, I could go years without it locking up. So anyway, that will be the end of our video, I suppose. If we, so it would work just like the first one. When you add the component, you would just add your star rating, and it would update. But that's going to be the end of this one. If you have any questions, let me know.